Inside the Game is back live, however you're watching, wherever you may be watching. Woo! Episode 220 here on the National Soccer Network. I'm Nate Wangler. That's Ryan Glinsky. Ryan, sometimes it helps to have the weekend when it comes to sports shows, and especially if you only go Monday through Friday, because it builds all of your content for the week. I mean, you could at least get through the first 3 or 4 days just going off of what happened over the weekend, and that's not even counting anything that might happen throughout the course of the week and what's coming up when it comes to the Super Bowl. So we've had an eventful last couple of days. Obviously, yesterday, the Pistons' largest margin of victory in franchise history, 53 points in their game. Just nuts. You have Michigan State, which obviously we got to get into that because both you and I picked Michigan State to win that game in a close one late. We both said that was probably going to be the case. It did not end up being the case. Michigan and Dusty May weathered the storm and were able to win that one by 12. But we got to start off with this. Also, a lot of soccer news to get to as well. News on Ricardo Pepi, Christian Pulisic, injury issues. Not great to hear the closer that we get to the World Cup and a lot of other stuff. Also got a senior spotlight. We're going to get into that next, but I want to start off with this. Groundhog Day. And you and I actually talked about it a little bit going into the show. I agree also it's not real, but it reminds us of a day in which technology was not a thing, and we relied on other things and symbols and signs in order to tell us what the universe was going to do, as opposed to, the weather app like we do now. So, the groundhog paved the way, I guess, in one way or another, but he says that there is going to be more winter. So, yeah, so buckle in. You think you've seen the worst of it. You haven't seen anything yet. Actually, it's going to get much worse, according to the groundhog. So that -14 we had with the exploding trees in the neighborhood, apparently we're not done quite yet. Apparently we got more of that on the way.
I guess it's 2026, we're still believing this groundhog. I mean, come on, we can do whatever we want. Like, we were talking about this before the show. If I was a groundhog, if I was somebody that was constantly needed to be waked up to do one thing for all the people, I just would tell everybody the thing that they don't want to hear, because that just annoyed me. I'd be like, dude, I'm trying to sleep here. Please just leave me alone. If there's some winter, if whatever you guys want, I'm taking the exact opposite, because you're disturbing my peace here. So
yeah,
whether
I'm underground for a reason.
I mean, 6 more weeks. Sure.
Yeah. No, exactly. Hey, and I'm underground for a reason, right? So, why are you pulling me above ground and then telling me to tell these people the truth? I'm supposed to help them out. You're inconveniencing me. So, yeah, I would probably just tell them a lie. I'd just probably tell them the opposite of what is true, and then just let them deal with it. Everyone's getting ready for more winter. There isn't more winter. But anyways, yeah, so if you believe the groundhog, we got more coming our direction. So just putting that out there for the people who need to get, mentally prepared for what's to come, because he says that there's more of it on the way. But let's get into the soccer conversation a little bit. I wanted to start off with this. Got a new senior spotlight today, and this is obviously something that we've been running here on the National Soccer Network. We've already done one since the revamped show here on Inside the Game, but we got another few on the way. Ryan, lay that one out for us.
Yeah, we got this time coming from Oxford High School. We have senior Cameron Budsnick, who, of course, still going to have a senior season starting here in the spring, but she plays for the Nationals on the club space. She is a center back position-wise. We talked about we need one to the right of Chris Richards. Hopefully, or for the women's team now with Crystal Dunn being retired, I should say.
There you go.
We need a new one. And she has a 3.8 GPA. So shout out to Cameron Budsnick. You get a horn.
Yes. 3.8 horns to be exact.
Yeah.
That's
I don't know how we can get the 0.8 in, but yeah.
Wow.
They still, of course, the women's or the girls' side here in Michigan, they still have to play in the spring. So good
Yeah.
luck to you, Cameron, and your Oxford team on this upcoming season. But I did want to say this since this Oxford thing came up, and I remembered I took my experience at Oxford playing a soccer game. It lasted, oof, I think the game lasted 4 hours. So real quick, we pull up on a Friday night, and on Friday night games, in the fall, the varsity plays first, just because some
Mm-hmm.
people kick, some people are on the football team, so they have to play and leave. So we get there, we get to warm ups, and we get 30 seconds into the game, lightning strike. We're like, all right, sounds good, sounds good. So we go up into the top of the stadium real quick, or in a shed. So we're just hanging out there, hang out for like half hour. Then all right, let's get back on the field. We get back on the field. 3 minutes in, all right, rain delay. We're like, all right, sounds good, sounds good. Then we wait like another 30, 40, maybe like an hour at this point. I'm like, all right, sounds good. Then we actually get playing. We play. We get to about a minute left in the first half. Rain delay. We're like, oh god, jeez.
Oh my.
And then, after that last rain delay that lasts another 45 minutes, we finished playing the game. We win comfortably 3-0. And then after the game, this amazing photo I took with my phone. I just thought that was a beautiful,
Oh
beautiful
man.
photo. And if
Look
you've
at
never been to
that.
Oxford, their stadium's actually in a bowl, and they have a blue field, but their stadium's actually in a bowl. So like I'm currently at like the parking lot level right now, just outside the shed that we were staying in, and then obviously
Wow.
we had to wait for the JV team to finish up, and we didn't get home till like 9 or 10 o'clock. It felt like just because of how late the game was and everything, but a comfortable 3-0 win. But no, I just thought I'd share that real quick with my experience with Oxford, because I think that's a great photo. Shout out to junior year Ryan. So
Yeah. If you could put that picture back up on the screen really quickly, because I got a few thoughts on this one. Number one, not only did you get a picture, but you also got a picture of a guy taking a picture as well.
yeah,
So we got a dual
that'd be
layered
our goalie
picture,
Evan Lindsley. That'd be him.
dual layered picture going on here. Also, I love the turf at Oxford. I didn't realize they had blue turf. That's cool.
Yeah.
I don't I think I know only really one other high school that has colored turf, like school colors. But that's pretty sick, especially with the yellow end zone. So I didn't realize I didn't realize their game over at Oxford. The stands look a little dated and the press box looks very dated, but I'm sure they'll probably end up working on that. But the other thing is the houses over here off in the distance. Dude, if you were to do like a little bit of editing and like block out like the house looks, they look like mountains
Yeah.
with the sunset. I'm just
Yeah.
saying that'd be a pretty cool look. But I mean, with the houses, that's still pretty cool. But no, that's I'm really impressed. That's good work on your end there, Ryan. I didn't realize you were a photographer. Well done.
Yeah, I just took
But that's our
walked outside. I was like, wow, that's a cool photo to take.
that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. But that's our senior spotlight for today. Again, we'll have more of those coming up on Inside the Game here, episode 220. Ryan, I know we're a little bit shy of our first commercial break. Still got a lot of time here. So let's just dive into our talking points of the day. The first being Ricardo Pepi. That deal that we thought that maybe would go through on a transfer to the Premier League did not end up going through. And, I think over $40 million, what would have been $47.5 million, I believe is what it was. 37 million dollars did not end up going through. But Ryan, I'll start off with what are your thoughts? I tend to think it's a good thing, but you had already posted a video about this, and go ahead and tell the people what you think.
I just really hope this doesn't come back to bite me in the butt. I just after the show really hope that, because I haven't made a response video to it yet, obviously, because we got the show going here today. But I just really hope, because I posted a YouTube short, posted on Instagram, posted on TikTok. So again, hey, if you're not following us on any of that stuff, make sure you drop us a follow at Nat Soccer TV on Instagram, and then National Soccer Network on TikTok, and then we got a shout out, or we got some comments in the TikTok chat. Camp shutout, excuse me, says good morning to you too, Camp.
What's
Shutout.
going on?
He's always commenting on our videos, so shout out to him. But no, I just really hope I don't get defeat. I don't get, oh, this is wrong. Well, yeah, I know it's wrong, but I haven't had a chance to redeem myself, for crying out loud, people. But yeah, no, I would personally say my whole thing on the Ricardo Pepi saga, which I'll put this up real quick. I mean, yesterday was almost a done deal. Everything was agreed up to that point. The only thing that was stopping it was PSV needed to find a replacement striker, and you see this happen a lot of times in soccer deals, where a team, again, willing to get or is willing to give that player up to that said team, has a fee agreed, but they need to find a replacement first, because when you have a player under contract like that, there's no pressure to sell the player or not. And then obviously today I wake up and find out that the deal is off as PSV can't find a replacement, and everyone's expecting a summer transfer move. But I would say this for Ricardo Pepi. I think it is way better that he's staying at PSV 100%, because we think about it. At Fulham, there's already a Raul Jimenez there. He's most likely going to be starting the rest of the way anyway. And Pepe has that injury. We talked about I think it's a forearm or an arm injury, something like that, where he's got an injury for the next 2 months. He won't be playing. And you're going to be moving to a new team, a new environment that you haven't been in. You're going to be moving to a different country also, from the Netherlands to England. There's no reason to move, especially if
Yep.
you're injured, because you talked about this before the show of all he can focus now on is getting back healthy. And if he were to go to Fulham,
Yeah.
he'd be hurt and he'd be trying to figure out, all right, new surroundings. I have to get back from injury. How do I break into the team? The surrounding areas. How like what's my routine of getting to places and all that fun stuff. So no, I think it's better that Ricardo Pepi. I mean, not saying that he doesn't deserve a move to Fulham or to England or to upgrade himself or give himself a better shot of becoming a better
Right.
player. Not saying that at all.
Right.
But I'm saying we talked about the most important year in U.S. soccer history is upon us right now. We're a couple months away from it, 129 days away from it, and we need Pepe at his best. And I think if Pepe just stays at PSV, gets healthy, and then starts playing again, it's a way better situation than if he were to go to Fulham and then try to play right away and he's still hurt. Like it's better that he's staying.
If anything, it shows that Ricardo Pepi still 100% has the potential and capacity to be a star in the Premier League, to be someone who plays significant minutes and makes a significant impact on a club. That's all that this shows me, that they have their eye on him, and that at some point this is going to happen for Ricardo Pepi. It probably stings for him right now that it's not happening at this moment. I mean, if I'm him, I'm excited for the opportunity. I'm ready to make the leap to the Premier League. So if I'm him, in a way, I realize the World Cup is coming up, but I'm sure I'm a little bit disappointed. But there is still room for Ricardo Pepi to break into the top end league in the world. I mean, he has 11 goals in 22 matches with PSV. He's looked really good in the Dutch league. So if he comes back strong off of injury and he finishes off his time there, I think, if he comes back in time, I think that's something where you can just put an exclamation point on that, focus on the World Cup, and then if he wants to break into the Premier League, again, they already have their eyes on him. But we talked about, when it comes to bargaining power, the injury probably put a damper on that, I would imagine. And obviously finding a replacement this close, as you talked about, is a really hard thing to do. But the World Cup should be the focus for Ricardo Pepi now, because they're saying, with the timetable of this injury, if he were to come back, it would probably be within 2 months until the World Cup was set to start. So with that being said, and you're playing the top end sides the way that we've seen, obviously you got Germany and Portugal, he's going to need to be at the top of his game physically to have a chance to really put himself in a prime spot on that World Cup roster. And I would assume that that's his priority now that this hasn't gone through. But I think for Ricardo Pepi on the professional side, he still 100% is capable and will eventually, in my opinion, make this move to the Premier League. But again, with the injury, the timing, the proximity to the World Cup, it's just one of those situations where it's like, the time isn't right now. And I think that the path back from injury is probably a lot easier with a club that, again, you already know and you're already familiar with, because you don't have all of those extenuating circumstances that also, I mean, if I'm Mauricio Pochettino, probably creates more of a distraction, because we saw that with players during the summer in some of the ones that didn't compete in the likes of the Gold Cup and other matches. So, again, I don't hate it. I just think people maybe look at it and they think, well, Pepi could have been in the Premier League. Yeah, and he will be in the Premier League, but people don't think about the long game. They think about what happens right now. We all know how recency bias is in sports, but I still think that will happen eventually for Ricardo Pepi.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I would say his main priority right now is obviously getting healthy first. But he can also,
Yeah.
I don't think people realize that he can improve his stock in the World Cup. We've seen it time and time again in tournaments, whether that's the World Cup, whether that's the Euros, Copa America, or anything. Like if we look at the last couple of World Cups, 2014, James Rodriguez played unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's like a $50 million move to Real Madrid.
It's like March Madness for a lot of players.
Yeah,
the college basketball equivalent. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Golovin in 2018, which I don't know where he actually ended up, but everyone wanted him. Also Fred for Brazil, everyone wanted him after a World Cup. So no, it's 2022. I don't even remember because it was during like December. Who was the player that's going to stand out? But no, if you're looking at it, if you're Ricardo Pepi, I mean, yeah, it sucks a little bit, but now your focus shifts to, all right, how do I get healthy? I'm still in the same area. I don't have to move houses or apartments or whatever he's staying in the Netherlands. And you're most likely going to win the league title as it is anyway in the Eredivisie. Lift that trophy, get that feeling, get healthy 100%. I mean, he's not a consistent starter all the time for PSV. He does play quite a bit, but he's not a consistent week in, week out starter, and he'd be kind of making a I guess you could say maybe a lateral move in terms of that with Fulham, because I think Jimenez would be starting over him anyway. And you're going to a different league. It's a very physical league too. That's why they talk about the adjustment period for all these players. I think this is the best thing that honestly could have happened to Pepi. I think him just staying at PSV, he's going to get healthy once again and all that fun stuff. So I think this is perfect that he doesn't move. If he wants to move in the summer, I mean, that's what I expect from him. I expect a summer transfer move for Ricardo Pepi. But for right now, I think this is the best thing that could have happened to him.
Yeah, it seems like the summer would be like clean slate time. That's the time that you really make the move. But I think the other thing is just missing out on that amount of money, could also probably be frustrating at the same exact time. But either way, I think at the end of the day, it's going to be a good thing for Ricardo Pepi. And again, it just gives him a chance to really physically get to where he needs to be. Because I still think he's one of our best in terms of the position that he plays. It's just we haven't seen that side of Ricardo Pepi on the international side. And so it becomes harder for us to justify, is he going to be a main component of this 26 roster going into the World Cup? But let's take a step aside for a moment. We'll be right back here on Inside the Game. We got some summer camps. We've been really hammering these away, and we're hoping that you guys are obviously scanning the QR codes on your screen. First, we'll talk about FC Bayern summer camps. Proud sponsor of the National Soccer Network, fostering football excellence across North America. Open to boys and girls of all skill levels, rather. FC Bayern camps deliver elite training inspired by FC Bayern Munich's world-class philosophy. Select your city and start a promising soccer path. And right now, save $30 on registration by using promo code BayernNSN30. Again, that's BayernNSN30, or scan the QR code on your screen. Learn more, fcbayernyouth.com. Back live and inside the game, episode 220 here on the National Soccer Network. Getting into our first hour here, second segment on our first hour, talking a little bit of U.S. men's national team. Obviously, Ricardo Pepi will not be transferred. Will be sticking around at PSV. Talked a lot about that, but now let's get into the second part of this. And this is something that has been popping up more and more consistently, really even since we started this show, especially getting into the summer and then obviously the international windows. It's been an issue that has been on and off. I wouldn't say it's necessarily derailed the performance of this particular player, but it has certainly in some ways come to a not a crescendo lately, but it is becoming more concerning. Again, talking about proximity to the World Cup, and that's Christian Pulisic's nagging injury issues that he's dealing with right now. Hip flexor issue that continues to apparently flare up and has only gotten worse, or at least from the reports that I've seen. But what have you seen so far? Well, there we go. I mean, on Friday, Pulisic was given the day off, showing up for treatment still, and is still dealing with some muscle discomfort. The rumor it is his hip flexor, is just mentioned. So not great, obviously, for Christian Pulisic, and, another in a long list of what has not been major injuries per se, Ryan, but have been nagging injuries, which almost sometimes can be worse. When you have injuries that just don't go away. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. What's your level of concern when you look at something like this?
My level of concern would be we probably won't have a fully fit Pulisic during the World Cup. That's my level of concern for all of this. I think he won't be fully fit come the World Cup.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. I mean, he was injured against Australia, I think, back a couple months ago with a hamstring injury. And now he just has some stuff that shows up every now and again. And, I mean, I also think it's kind of the way that Pulisic is built, too. He's really scrawny, not a ton of muscle on him. But, I mean, he's fast. So I guess that's one takeaway from it. But no, I don't think we're gonna have a fully fit Pulisic, which is that's really gonna hurt our chances if we want to eventually get to a quarterfinal. And he's obviously our best player. You got to have your best players out there. But if I'm being completely honest, I don't think we're gonna have a fully fit Pulisic. Remember, in the last World Cup, he actually got hurt against Iran in the final game right before the Netherlands, and we didn't think he was gonna play, but he ends up playing. Like I'm not saying that he's not a tough player. He's not a tough guy, but no, he's fought through a ton of stuff. Even his time at Chelsea, he had a couple of injuries as well. So I think Pulisic is going. He's not going to be 100%. He's going to fight through a couple of things like any player would that's going to be in the World Cup because it happens only once every 4 years. So no, I think Pulisic will. I think he's going to be like a 75%, 80% type of player, which, again, I think we'll take it at any day because of how good that he could potentially be and what he's been doing so far for us on the international stage and for his club, AC Milan. But, no, I don't think he's going to be fully fit come June.
Well, there are certain players that even if you're not fully fit, you still make a bigger impact than everybody else around you. And I think Christian Pulisic is one of those players. But here's the tricky thing when I look at this situation, because there are expectations with what he's doing at AC Milan, right? So the focus for him in one area is I need to get back to full health and go out and help contribute to achieve these goals that I've already set out when it comes to wanting to re-sign there and extend his time at AC Milan, or what the next option is he going back to the Premier League, holding out and setting these lofty, not necessarily lofty expectations, but almost demanding these things. That's number one on his mind. All right. I got to get back to being at full health so I can help complete these goals. But on the other side, obviously, is the U.S. men's national team question. And when Mauricio Pochettino thinks about this, if I'm the manager of the U.S. men's national team, if there's even a question of I'm not fully healthy with Christian Pulisic, I'm not playing him. And I get it. Like, he says, okay, the World Cup starts now. Like, this is when the rubber hits the pavement. But, I mean, you even got into me a little bit jokingly during our last show about how it's still January. Now it's February. But it's like we're still not right there to where it's like, okay, we really need to start talking the way that we're talking. Like, the final roster hasn't even been released yet. So, but if there's any question in my mind, again, if I'm Mauricio Pochettino in these upcoming games, whether it be Senegal, whether it be Portugal, whoever it is, if there's ever even a question mark as to whether or not Christian Pulisic feels 100%, I'm not going to play him, or I'm playing very limited minutes, and he can be involved in training and all this other stuff. But that is
I don't even
the
know if
two
he'd get
different
invited.
sides of. Well, right. I mean, but that is the two different sides of Christian Pulisic's situation right now, and that's what makes it really tricky. So I don't see a situation where he pulls off the gas at all, because I don't think he can. I think the expectations are set at AC Milan, and I realize he wants to win a World Cup. I mean, make a run towards a World Cup. I think we all know the likelihood of winning it, but the expectations are set at the club level. So that this is where it kind of gets a little freaky for me. The little nagging injuries, whatever. I mean, even not at 100%, it's the World Cup. I mean, you would be not human if you didn't go out and spend every last little bit of physical energy and risk it all in order to just have an opportunity to lift that trophy. So I still think that Pulisic is going to do that. I mean, he's but little injuries, sometimes the dots connect and it becomes something much bigger than just the little ones. So that's where, when I look at what's coming up, my mind gets a little, a little off track, and I get concerned, but just the way I see it.
Yeah, I don't even think he'd be invited to the training or to the camp if there's any sort of doubt that he might not play, he might be injured. I don't think he'd get invited. Period. That's just the way that I would handle it, and I think Pochettino would handle it, because think about it. I mean, Pulisic's already written in on the roster. He's already written as on the starting sheet, barring injury. So there's no reason to even want to have a
Yeah.
look at Pulisic. The only reason you'd play Pulisic is if you want to see him or try a different lineup, or kind of have any sort of combination of different players in a starting 11. That's the only reason you would play Pulisic. But I mean, these nagging injuries, he's got a history of them. It's happened a couple of times at Chelsea. It's happened with the U.S. obviously a couple months ago, and now it's popping up again. And it's not
Yeah.
that like these are severe injuries or anything. It's not like an Achilles or an ACL or anything like that. It's just the small
Hmm.
muscle stuff that's gonna eventually hurt at him. And the thing that scares me a little bit when it comes to these nagging muscle injuries and all that fun stuff is Pulisic is so quick. He's so fast. He's not a strong, muscular guy. He's a very, very scrawny player, but he's very fast. Like he's a tough player on the ball. He's tough to take off, but he doesn't have the muscle. I guess is what I'm trying to get at here. And when you
Yeah.
have these nagging muscle injuries, that's eventually going to hinder on your speed. And that's the thing that makes Pulisic different than a lot of these players, is how quick he is on the ball, how quick he is to make those diagonal runs in behind the back line. Like that's what makes him so
Hmm.
special. And the thing is eventually, is that going to hurt his speed? I think 100% it's going to. And that's just something that's a little bit worrisome if you're a USA men's national team fan like myself and Nate. So that's just one thing to keep an eye out for going on in the future, and what his speed is and what those nagging injuries are going to be like.
Yeah, and I mean, it's also the mental toll, right? I mean, you got the physical toll, but you also have the other side of
Yeah.
it, which is, you're always thinking about, you take a bad cut, you take something else. I mean, that can weigh on you as well. So I think it's certainly of concern, but I don't think I don't think they're adding up quite yet. I wouldn't say he's far enough along to where all the little things are necessarily going to, completely derail his productivity. And I still think he'll be a great piece for the U.S. men's national team in the 26 World Cup. I know that we've waxed poetic many a times about the level of play between him and the rest of the squad, but I don't know. You look at the way Weston McKennie is playing right now. You look at some of the other players. Malik Tillman just scored again. Yeah, obviously I know it's been a good run as of late for Malik Tillman. Little drive spell there for a while, but he's picked it up. But for Christian Pulisic, again, this is it's just, my only thing is the priority is still going to be AC Milan, even moving in closer towards the World Cup. And so I think for US men's national
Is
team
his
fans,
priority going to be AC Milan? Is that what you're asking?
yes. Yeah. I mean, he has to get back and produce for the club. I
Yeah,
mean,
because
I
he's in a
understand that the
contract.
World Cup
He's
is
in a contract here.
right. But I'm just saying there's two different priorities going on here. Like if I'm on the US soccer side, we want him to take as much time to make sure his body is right. If I'm on the side of AC Milan, I need him to get back as soon as humanly possible to be what we need him to be. So that's where the the confusion in terms of his timetable and what he's actually going to look like going into the World Cup really starts to like kind of get thrown into question when it comes to Christian Pulisic. So what does his usage look like leading up to the
Well,
tournament?
AC Milan's going to be in a title race with their rival Inter Milan. So the club priority is everything up until they're probably
Yeah.
mathematically eliminated from the title or they're mathematically won the title. So that's the only way
Yeah.
that all these players right now we talked about, every single player, the priority of the World Cup does not show up until the last couple games of the season. Like no one is. If you're a player, you're probably you make your decisions based on what you're doing for a couple of years or a couple months before you make your transfer decisions and your contract negotiations.
Yeah.
Kind of for the World Cup, we've seen it time and time again with transfers. But your priority is still your club right now. It is February 2nd. The World Cup doesn't start till like June 10th or something like that. So your priority the priority of the World Cup does not show up until probably April or anything. So U.S. Soccer can say they don't want Pulisic to do this or that, doesn't want Pulisic to play in this. Well, the clubs have more of a say than the international clubs, regardless of a World Cup year or not. Like that's
Yeah.
why managers can stop sending players on international windows or international duty if they don't think it's right for them. They've vetoed it before. It's happened time and time again. Pulisic,
Yeah.
yes, we obviously want him fully fit. We want him there, and he can make an impact hurt a little bit. So we obviously need him, but the priority does not change for him until probably April or May, whenever those final games are. That's when the priority happens.
Yeah.
So the U.S. can't say
And
anything.
I would hope, even if we go into the 26 World Cup and he has one of these nagging injuries reappear, that he's just able to really fight his way through it, see it through until the bitter end. That is in my mind, when you talk about career defining moments, like I feel like the 26 World Cup, if there's one moment for Christian Pulisic, and I know he's one of 11, right? So we can't be like, this all falls on his shoulders. It's doom and gloom if it doesn't go the way we think it does. But in terms of the persistence and the grit and the fight and maybe dealing with some of that nagging stuff, but still finding a way to come out and have a moment like he did against Iran, have a moment like other international moments that he's had. I don't know. I don't have a ton of examples off the top of my head, but he's Christian Pulisic. I'm sure we have a list of them. Do you have one of those stretches despite some of the nagging stuff that's going on? That'll make him Captain America, truly, I think, in a lot of people's minds, if he just shows that he can fight through until the end. Doesn't matter what the injury is,
That
So
really reversed the narrative from this past summer about Pulisic
and yeah,
and all that stuff. And
I
again,
think he needs that.
if Pulisic not playing the Gold Cup, I could care less about, because the Gold Cup
Yeah.
doesn't move the needle for anything. We could
Just want to beat Mexico. That's all.
We could
just want
have
to beat
played
Mexico.
the U17 squad, and I would not have cared less. The only thing
Yeah.
that's really done is add a couple of people in the discussion to make the World Cup roster, like a Diego Luna. That's the only thing that whole Gold Cup truly did, besides everyone just bitching at each other, of the media heads and the old players to the new players. That's the only thing that it created. And
Yeah.
and it also kind of solidified, I think, Chris Richards should be again, I don't think Pulisic should be the captain of this team. That's the one thing that should not happen. But it didn't matter if he didn't play last summer. But now this summer, World Cup, everyone's got to be playing and everyone's got to be at their best. But I think that he's going to tough it out. He's toughened it out before. Look at Iran and then going to the Netherlands game, which, again, if he scores in the first 5 minutes of the game like he should have on a sitter that Pulisic completely missed, then we're probably having a different discussion about him. That game completely turns on its head. You can defend for a little bit, and then all of a sudden the Netherlands are behind, but instead you lose 3-1. But no, if Pulisic scores that, we could 100% have won that game. But no, Pulisic's going to tough it out. I think any player is going to toughen it out. We're going to see eventually, after the World Cup, we'll eventually start hearing reports that so-and-so had this injury, so-and-so had this injury. Just like every single season in every single sport, they'll say so-and-so was playing with a broken foot, or someone was playing with with a partially torn hammy. Like, everybody wants to play in the World Cup. Everyone that has the opportunity to do so, everyone's going to do it. Pulisic's going to go out there. He's going to give it all he can in that World Cup. But as of right now,
Yeah.
its focus is all of AC Milan, just like every single player right now. Ricardo Pepi,
Yeah.
focus obviously is an injury. Same with Tyler Adams, but Weston McKennie, full focus Juventus. Malik Tillman, full focus is Bayer Leverkusen. So that's just the way it is. And I will say this. With that injury, I forgot to put it in there. AC Milan might be signing a new striker today as well in Jean-Philippe Mateta from, I think that's his name, from Crystal Palace. But he's a striker, and, I mean, that could also provide a little bit of competition, especially when you're in a title race like that. That could provide some competition for Pulisic. Could he lose his spot? I don't think so, but if he's going to have these injuries, I mean, Mateta's not a horrible striker. I'll say that. Mateta's not bad. And, yeah, I'm just putting it out there that something to keep an eye out for.
Every Batman needs his Robin, right? I mean, that's why.
His Robin is Leao, Rafael Leao. It's not Mateta.
Okay, every Batman needs his. Does Batman?
Well, he'd be in competition.
Have another partner. Oh, okay.
He'd be in
all right. Well, but it also helped though. All right, so every Batman needs his Joker.
Yeah, I don't know where you're going with the comparison. I mean, if I was alluding that it's just competition at this point because they're bringing in another striker. His Robin would be Rafael Leao. That'd be his Robin. If anything is Pulisic.
I believe I was going for the analogy of everybody needs someone to push them to be better, which I think providing someone to compete with Christian Pulisic for the spot maybe would help him kick it into high gear or more high gear than what he already is. Obviously, we know what he's done this year, but before the World Cup. No, that's where I was going with the analogy. Swing and a miss on my end. My apologies. We're going to move on. Base camps have been announced for the World Cup. There's some funny ones in here. Spain will be in Chattanooga. You were talking yesterday, Ryan, you believe that Germany will be at Wake Forest, or at least that's what was announced. The announcements have been made recently, so we're going to talk a little bit about that and where these European sides will be stationed in the heartland of the United States. It's going to be a fun little social experiment, but we'll talk about that a little bit more coming up next on the other side here on Inside the Game.
Experience the thrill of the game like never before with NSN's Game Rewind. Dive into full match commentaries enhanced with cutting-edge dynamic graphics, letting you relive the highs and lows of your favorite matches in astonishing detail. Whether it's a championship win or a legendary play, NSN Game Rewind bridges the past and future with a broadcast experience designed to captivate. Call 586-304-4405 and start watching today.
Back live on the National Soccer Network and Inside the Game, wherever you're watching us today. Hey, make sure you follow us on social media at National Soccer Network, wherever you find your social media. Also, wanted to work this in very quickly before we get to our conversation on the base camps. Giving away Salt athletic bags. Only the best. They pretty much can conceal anything that you want to put in them. They are designed for cleats, but anything else that you can put in them, it does the job. So there they are. You open them up, you drop them right in there. Probably could be food items too. I know people that, the food items themselves stink. So you could also put it in there and put that in the fridge. So you got options, just saying. You get a
winner
bunch
will
of
be
them
announced every
because you keep
Friday
watching our show.
for the next 20
So.
weeks. Friday, just all you got to do is go on the Instagram. You didn't even give the reason how you could enter a win. You just said, yeah, we're just throwing it out there. Like, go to our Instagram, comment hashtag NSN Salt Giveaway, like it, drop us a follow. You'll be entered to win if you just do all those 3 things. Winner will be announced on Friday. Nate, you're just like,
Well, I
you
was
got to
getting-
explain the process here. You can't just say you're giving away stuff and then not give the process of how you're not going to give away stuff.
Just explaining how it works, man. I'm just letting people know how it works. You know, if they're new to our show, they got to know how the bag works. But either way, let's get into base camps a little bit.
Yeah, there's only 5 that have been confirmed. This is more of a you thing. You wanted to talk about this. So, I mean, what appeals to you about these base camps? There's only 5 teams that have confirmed for places: Germany, Spain, Croatia, Colombia, and France and Croatia. I mean, what's your appeal on these World Cup base camps?
Well, Spain being in Chattanooga, Tennessee is just hilarious to me. What a time to be alive. The Spaniards going to Chattanooga. So I passed through Chattanooga once, actually a couple of different times. Shout out Gabe Schrey. He actually does their USL games, the Chattanooga Red Wolves, who I believe are part of Chattanooga Division, or USL. I don't know if I think they're D2, but I can't remember. But either way, really fun side to be a part of down there, and he does great work. But it is just a true Tennessee town. Like it is very southern. It's like Nashville in a way, but like smaller. So like Chattanooga in some ways has kind of become the hidden gem of that state, mostly because everybody knows about Nashville. Everybody from the coast to the big cities, they all go to Nashville. It's like the new place to go. It's like the Hollywood on the East Coast, right? So and it's not really on the East Coast, but you get the point. It's like this side of the country's version of Hollywood. But so a lot of people are going there. But with Spain going there, it's funny because it's going to be a culture shock for them. First of all, Chattanooga can be very remote in certain spots. Yeah, the downtown area is really nice, and so I'm sure that's where they're going to be. But a lot of forests, a lot of hunting, a lot of it's going to be hot as hell, especially during this summer. I mean, it gets toasty in Tennessee, especially at least from what I remember being down there. But just the culture shock component of it. Yeah, it gets warm in Spain, but I mean, I'm just saying, like in Tennessee, it gets real toasty. But I was just looking at some bar options in Chattanooga and some other places. There was one burger place that I went to that was really good. Massive burger. It had 3 onion rings on it. It was really good. But it's just the culture shock side of it that frankly I just thought was hilarious.
Well, if you think about it, all the food is going to be 10 times bigger than anything that they get in Europe or anywhere around the world. Like,
exactly.
The food portions are completely different from what I've heard over in Spain and in Europe compared to, especially down south in Tennessee. But no, I mean, it'll be a culture shock for any team that hasn't been to the United States or North America, rather, because you have Mexico and Canada obviously being a part of it. But, I mean,
they will be going during baseball season. So I'm just letting you know. And they got the Chattanooga Lookouts right there in Chattanooga. So I'm thinking maybe Spain's entire international men's soccer team should go to a Chattanooga Lookouts game because they would really get the full American experience. And in my opinion, if you're going to play in the World Cup and you're coming to the United States, you may as well get the full experience. You may as well experience what the US of A has to offer, which is beer, minor league baseball, and a pretty cool stadium for the Chat Lookouts. I mean, it is quite literally stationed on top of like an elevated place in the city, so you can like see the city from this place. It's nice. It's real nice. Real nice.
Yeah,
hot dogs,
baseball,
apple pie, and Chevrolet.
American summer is the
backbone. It is.
Minor league
That's what
baseball.
I'm saying.
Let's see. South Korea and Croatia will both be in Mexico. Germany will be at Wake Forest. They'll train at the Wake Forest soccer stadium. So that's pretty cool. We had both of their coaches on actually a couple months ago, the men's coach and the women's coach. I'm drawing blanks on names, but we had both of them on. But Winston-Salem, North Carolina, interesting spot for Germany. And then Spain, obviously Chattanooga, as you mentioned. This one is probably this is funny to me that they will be, the French national team will be based in Boston.
Ooh. Okay. So the French national team will be based in the place with the highest concentration of Irish immigrants in the United States, in
Yes,
Boston. That'll be fun.
and a
Well,
lot of
Boston's a cool place. And a lot of what?
the French are from Africa, so yeah, that's gonna be a little difficult. Um,
Well, I mean, yeah. Well,
they're gonna be based out of Babson College. What the heck is that?
ooh, Babson, B-A-B.
Yeah,
This is a new one to me. They must be like Division 3.
I thought you know all about the
Uh,
small schools.
Not Division 3. I'm in the NAIA. I mean, I don't know. I guess same thing. Babson College.
And
Students
West,
3,932. So I imagine that's probably, if not Division 3, definitely an NAIA school. I believe like Cornerstone probably has I think 3,000. So that's probably right around the same. Specializing in entrepreneurship education. Interesting. Well, they must have good facilities then.
They are. I just had it. They're Division 3. They're Division 3, and it looks like they got some decent facilities. Looks like they get a lot of people come out to their games too. Basketball games, it is.
Wow.
Looks like they got a legendary basketball coach. Jeez, 500th win. Interesting.
Not gonna lie, okay. I'm looking at the soccer pitch right now, and it's pretty nice. You got good seating. The grass looks immaculate the way that they cut it, and it's not turf, like it's grass.
That's another big thing about the World Cup is a lot of these teams are
That's,
not gonna like the turf feel and all the artificial stuff compared to grass. That's what a lot of soccer fans and what America's just gonna do is throw grass field on top of turf field because we're stupid. So a lot of that's gonna be an issue among itself. Colombia,
Yeah.
they'll also be in. I had them both wrong. Colombia is in Mexico. Croatia is going to be in Alexandria, Virginia. They will be training at a high school. That doesn't make sense. Let's see how legendary.
Which high school is this?
Epsokol High School. Let's see.
Episcopal?
Yeah, that sounds about right. Oh, geez, this looks like an old school high school. Oh, that's
Episcopal is a Episcopal. It's a branch of Christianity, so it's a private school. No, they're
that's not.
Aren't they one of like the high end?
College.
Oh, really?
No, it looks like college. I'm just saying it's obviously a high school, but that's not a high school. That's a college.
Okay, now I'm officially confused. Do they have nice facilities though? Are you looking at the facilities at the
moment? All right, Nate, we're gonna have to get you some sarcasm 101 lessons here. Oh my lord, it is a 100%. It's a high school, but that ain't a high school. That's a college.
It looks like a college. No, it is massive.
We're gonna
for
have
sure.
to get you some lessons on sarcasm 101.
Aren't they really good in football? I'm pretty sure Episcopal is good in football.
I can't say I pay attention.
I'm like 99% sure. Well, Virginia high school football, but either way, no, I think the culture shock component of it is hilarious. I think that's funny as hell, especially when you think about some of these places. Alexandria, I've never been to, so I can't make a comment on that. I've only been to Virginia once. But Chattanooga, I've been a couple of times. Obviously, I've been to Nashville. So, like, just in seeing these places, there is an opportunity in front of these teams to really just kind of see the local American flavor, and especially at the time in which the World Cup is happening too. Even when you look at the international news and the way that we're being covered and things that are being said, there's obviously a reputation when it comes to the United States and people that don't live in it. So for these guys to be in a place like Chattanooga or anywhere else, North Carolina, Tennessee, in these cities, it'll be really, really fun for them to actually see like the American heartland and like kind of what goes on in this country and obviously be welcomed like that too. I also think it's cool to see places like Wake Forest get a chance to host these international sides. That's a big deal for that university and for that side and for FIFA more than likely to look at them and go, hey, number one, you have the facilities and you have everything you need in order to host this team. I know that they're close to where the games are going to be played. I get it, but still, I feel like that's pretty high praise for a place like Wake Forest, and the fact that we've gotten to talk to both of their head coaches this year, and obviously they've waxed poetic about just how good that university is and just where the facilities are and trying to create a destination. So that part of it's cool too.
So you talked about? Apparently, you need to go to minor league baseball game to experience American culture.
It's a part of it.
I'd say baseball game, not minor league baseball. I'd say baseball.
Baseball in general.
I would say.
Why not minor league baseball?
Because it's.
What you got against minor league ball?
It's awesome. I love it. I love nothing but minor league baseball. But no, what are the three things? Because you talked about they have to experience minor league baseball. What are the three things that every nation, if they're based out of the U.S., if they're based in the U.S., what are the three things that every team has to experience at least once?
Okay. So first of all, we have about 1 million breweries in Tennessee. I'm just talking about Spain specifically, right?
No,
so
just every single
you gotta
team. Because
every single team.
There's not going to be minor league baseball in every single area. What are
fair.
three things
That's fair.
that they have that it's all around the country that they have to experience at least one time?
All right. First of all, find your best local pizza joint. All right. They need to have a local slice of za. All right, because pizza looks different everywhere around the world that you go. Everywhere it looks completely different. The ingredients, the crust, literally down to a T, it looks different. Right. So number one, you got to find the best pizza place there is available around there. Now I know we talked to Bobby Muss about his favorite place to eat. I would have to go back on that episode to see exactly where he said that his that was JT's big thing at the end of interviews. Where would you go eat?
Concerts are better.
So I gotta find exactly where he said that he would go. But that's number one in my opinion. Number two, local breweries. You gotta try the beer. All right, because I also know that beer obviously tastes a lot different. And when you talk about culturally speaking, with all these different sides that are coming in, they all drink different things where they're from. Right? They all have different their preferences. Obviously, you talk about France, it's more wine, it's more, those things. You talk about Germany, obviously it's more beer. Try your local breweries. All right, so I got pizza, I got breweries, some form of American entertainment. It could be minor league baseball. That's fine. I guarantee you anywhere that they are, there's probably a baseball team within 20 to 25 minutes, whether it be minor league or college wood bat. But it doesn't just have to be baseball. All right, we can talk like movie theater, we can talk like outdoor concert, we can talk about something along those
midget
lines.
Wrestling.
Something like that. Sure, yeah, lucha libre. That's more for Colombia down in Mexico. I'm sure they could probably do that, get some of the local flavor that way. But yeah, or monster trucks. It doesn't even have to be formal. It could just be two dudes racing down a street. That's American entertainment. So there's a lot of options available for these guys. But yeah, I'm gonna.
What's the things with like all the cars and they're all in like a mud, like they all just like hit each other. They're in like a mud pit. Like a backyard derby or something.
It's like
derby.
It's like bumper cars, but backyard derby.
You get what I'm saying,
I know
though.
exactly. I can envision. I can
mud
envision
pit
what you're saying.
everything.
I've seen the. Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, don't have it.
Here's what I think.
But bumper cars would be another fun one. Go to a Craig's Cruisers.
Here's what I think.
I don't think there's any down there, but
here's what I think. They need to experience an American local town beer tent. I don't even know if there even could be a beer tent going on while they're there. I don't care. Find one and experience it, because man, is it awesome! Of all these people in cutoffs, jeans, boots. Some people are kind of dressed nice. Some aren't. But you get all walks of life.
Yeah.
You go to a beer tent. You buy overpriced beer, because that's what happens. You listen to some live music of a band you've never heard of and will never hear again. But experience that in a tent, and just with pictures in your hand. And you just get drunk. I don't care if that fits their. I don't care if that fits their little routine. But they should experience an American beer tent.
Local
if
drinks.
they have it, of course. Because I don't know if they.
It's true. I'll add one more to the list. Like outdoor stuff. Go fishing. Go hiking. A lot of good fishing. In Tennessee too. So I'll just add that one on top. That'll be the cherry on top of that. But yeah, go on a boat somewhere. Go hunting. I don't know. I mean, you can shoot guns in the woods over here, guys, if you want. That's pretty fun. So
yeah.
Anyways,
do that. Go to a gun range.
There you go. You'd be surprised how many Europeans come over here and go to gun ranges and are like, this is cool. This is weird that I get to do this. And it's like, yeah, I mean, sometimes we forget, like, we just kind of get used to it over here. Like, it's a part of life. But yeah, it's always interesting. But just the culture shock is the funny part. So we're going to obviously see more and more of that get announced as we get closer and closer to the World Cup. But let's step aside here before we get ready for our all sports content. We got a lot of good stuff on the docket for all sports today. We're going to start off with a lot of different fun things. But first, Man City soccer camps, Barca Academy soccer camps, a proud sponsor of the National Soccer Network and the official academy of FC Barcelona in the United States, designed for both boys and girls ages 6 to 18. Barca Academy camps follow and replicate the FC Barcelona game model. Same philosophy used by Barca's professional coaching staff. Right now, you can save $30 on registration by using promo code FCB30. Scan the QR code on your screen. Find a camp near you, fcbarcelona.us/camps.
In Barca camp, I sing my song grown on and off of the field. Don't miss the time to register.
Sign up now for Barca camp.
In Barca camp, I sing my song grown on and off of the field. Don't miss the time to register.
Sign up now for Barca camp.
It is that time, the all sports section of Inside the Game, episode 220, week one, or rather, episode number 1 of the week. Nate Wangler alongside Ryan Glinsky. Ryan, getting into our all sports stuff, we got to start off here, and it's mostly because this is where we ended our show going into the weekend, and it's where both you and I were wrong. And I know I talk about one of my favorite things is when sports guys, and especially on shows, Colin Cowherd is one of my favorite shows to listen to. Don't hate on it. People don't like the guy because he's had some wild takes over the years, but that happens if you're in the industry for as long as he's been. And yeah, I realize that. He also said KD wasn't going to be anything because he couldn't bench 225. So
that doesn't
there are, it certainly doesn't. But He's
good
had some
LeBron.
bad ones, but he does have a segment every week where he talks about where Colin was right and where Colin was wrong. And where Nate and Ryan were wrong was our prediction on Michigan and Michigan State. Despite the fact that we had rooting interests on one side of the coin, it did not end up going that way. Michigan ends up winning the game by 12 on the road. And Dusty May is all about aura. Walked out early to sit in front of the students.
I'm
And
just going to leave this up on
that's,
screen for the remainder of the show.
yeah,
There's
that
just
really
aura.
that's the picture of the year at Michigan. That's one that you got to hang up. That's one you have to frame. That's
Hang
one
it
you
in
have
the
to put
Louvre.
in the Louvre. Everywhere, like that is, the amount of screensavers that probably is right now is, just genius on his end. And the confidence in MJ talked about this. Like everybody wants to talk. Everybody wants to be that way, be that guy when you're already leading, when you're already up by 20 or when you're already up by whatever. But to go out and do that before the game,
Well, it
and
wasn't
to
planned or
know that
anything.
I know, but he knew the cameras were there though. He knew.
He didn't know the kids were out. He
knew.
didn't know the students were out. He
Okay, but he still stuck around though.
He said in an interview that he likes to, this is his pregame ritual. He likes to go out ahead of time just to see some of the other teams shooting and how they're looking before the game. That's what he likes to do. And then he said before he walked in, he's like, he saw the line of students. He goes, "Oh, they're not in yet." So, but he's like, "Man, this is crazy." And then he sees them. He starts getting booed, and he's like, "Well, I'm in it now. So let me just embrace it. Let me sit down, sit in front." The students didn't have to say anything. He's just sitting there doing his routine. MSU is this university that's held in this degree of class, so you would think that they would act accordingly. At least that's what they say. They tell themselves that they act according to class. That's just what they say.
You had teed this up before we came on the show here today. I was actually texting back and forth with you yesterday about it. I'm gonna give you the floor, all right? Because you were coming in, you came in with bad intentions today. You woke up actually and chose violence when you rolled out of bed, and so you have you are going to be violent. You're going to solve your problem with violence, and you have the floor. So go ahead.
Yeah. Jeremy Fears is a bitch, dude. Like, he is such a dirty
Oh, wow.
Player. He is such a dirty player. Like, all right. See, I said on my own TikTok that he's equivalent to Brad Davison in terms of dirty play. Yeah, for sure. But I'll say this about Fears. Good basketball player. I'll give him that. He's a good basketball player. But there is a fine line between being a good basketball player and just not playing the game of basketball. And Jeremy Fears does not play the game of basketball, folks. He just sits there, tries to foul bait people like an SGA, just foul bait, which he's nowhere near the level of SGA. He decides to airball threes all the time. And then where he just stops in front of people, kicks people, leaves a leg out to try to foul Yaxels. He tries to go out for a closeout. Let me just leave a leg out real quick. Oh, and then let's not have the fact, Jeremy, that Yaxel's on a dunk. He's on a breakaway dunk. And you come in, hack him, which I guess in old school basketball, that's not the worst thing in the world. But then for you to do that, and then for you to get mad at the ref that, I was just going for the ball. It's a foul, dude. And you had some bad intentions to it. And the best part is Yaxel just looked at you and walked away because he knows he could kick your ass any day of the week. Fears is just a little weasel. And your brother's better than you, Jeremy. And then Yaxel dunks on you in the second half, has a few choice words to you as he walks down, and then you look like you stared like you just saw a ghost. But let me just flex every time I get a wide open layup because my name's Jeremy Fears and I'm a wannabe tough guy. Yeah, that's right, Fears. Wanna be tough. You think you're this tough guy, but you're surrounded by all the other players. You're dirty, and all your cheap shots and all your talking comes when you're up or when you're down and you're trying to have these little cheap shots. Fears is a bad basketball player. Not that, let me rephrase because I know the MSU fan base will get irritated if I say this. Jeremy Fears doesn't play real basketball. He just foul baits and tries to get dirty. That's all he does. And the little push off every time that you have it. It's not real basketball. You're just foul baiting the whole time. And I get it's a part of the game, but Jeremy, you're just you're just not that good at basketball, my man. It's a wannabe tough guy. That's all you are. And there's one other point I was going to say, but I totally forgot about it. But no, I think Fears is a bitch.
Yeah. I mean, he did have 35, 7, and 5. And MSU shot 14% from 3-point land. So, I mean, that doesn't really help anybody's cause.
How many of those were free throws?
Well, it still counts. You could say that all you want about SGA, but I mean, he gets to the line. And I realize the NBA and obviously college basketball. Yeah, you could make an argument certainly about the NBA and officiating, but
like you're telling me Fears, who just stops in front of Mara and just stops, falls, and then we're calling that a foul, or where he catches the ball in midair and flops his body in the air because LJ Kaysen, who got out of his way to let him land, like the foul baiting is what turns people off of basketball. It is just an ugly thing,
and it's infecting college basketball now too.
And the thing is the officiating is geared towards that. That's what the officiating is geared towards. Is the offensive game. That's why we have the what's it called? Where you foul and if you keep going and you're fouled before the shot. What's that called? But it still goes in and still count as a basket.
An and one?
No. You're fouled before you shoot, but you keep going.
Oh. In the shooting motion?
No. I thought you would have known this. That's why
on the floor?
Because I'm drawing the blank on it.
Person with the ball gets fouled as they're going. Okay. Anyways, either way, yeah. I mean, it's starting to affect the college game too. So we see it all the time. No, 100%. And even like in calling a couple of G League games this year, I made that comment. Like it seems more like, and I know the G League is maybe even a touch beyond in terms of the way that they play, but it does seem like just kind of like backyard basketball at times. And so I can definitely see where that turns people off. But no, this this loss for Michigan State, and especially when it comes to Jeremy Fears, I got a better comparison. How about like a Grayson Allen? I mean, Grayson Allen
could actually kind of hoop. Grayson Allen could actually score the basketball with ease. Grayson Allen was but he actually knew how to score.
So you don't think 35, 7, and 5 doesn't mean anything to you? No. If he led both teams in scoring, that doesn't. I mean, he shot 9 for 20, dude. That's darn near 50% shooting.
Yeah, but how much of that is just
pretty good.
Fast break and layups? Like Michigan. Okay, everyone talks about Michigan scoring. Well, that's because they have 7 guys that could start for any team in the country.
They're the deepest team in the country. Yeah, by far the deepest team in the country.
One game you'll see Yaxel drop 25. Another game you'll see Namari Burnett drop 20. Then you'll see Adai Mara drop 20. Yeah. Then Morez Johnson will drop 30 another game. So to lead all scores against a team like Michigan, it's not really that impressive to me because there's so many people that could score for Michigan and how many can actually start for them. I think eight of their rotation I think could start for any team in the country.
Yeah,
maybe
probably.
Not every team in the country, but 9. Because I'm forgetting about how good Duke and Arizona and UConn all are. But 90% of Division I programs they would start. 95% of Division I programs, 8 of them could start for.
And that leads us into the next part of this conversation. And I know I wanted to give you the chance to really get all that out and and really just kind of air the room out a little bit for a second. But addressing something maybe bigger than that, there can never be a Michigan State game without some sort of added controversy at the end. That's just how this rivalry goes. Like whether it be football, whether it be basketball, it really seems hockey is the only sport that we can play each other in, and there's not some sort of extenuating thing that expands beyond the game, like one team's cheating. But that's exactly what we're seeing now, and we're seeing it again. And for Michigan fans, it feels like a bad nightmare that just continues to be on repeat, right? Because schools are going to try and find a way to, especially a school like Michigan State, after a game like that, is going to try and find every single way to pick it apart and dissect it and claim that Dusty May and the University of Michigan is cheating. I've already seen multiple posts about it, seen multiple tweets, that need them investigated. And here's the thing. If the belief is that Michigan is tampering, in order to add talent, in order to add players, in order to get the players that they need in order to go win a Big Ten championship or a national championship. I don't know necessarily, but what I will say is that it wouldn't shock me. I wouldn't be shocked at all if they were doing that. I wouldn't be shocked at all if Dusty May, who I think the University of Michigan understood was someone who really had a firm grasp on the business side of college basketball. It wouldn't shock me at all if stuff like that was going on and if they were pulling strings in order to get their way. But here's my one question for Michigan State. And the biggest part of all of this, yes, lowest combined ranking in program history in the two sides, but more than that, this was a clash of two different schools of thought in a lot of ways. Two different schools literally, but two different schools of thought. You have Michigan, who in a lot of ways not in a lot of ways, they have pretty much bought, for the most part, their entire roster. You have Dusty May, who's obviously brand new, and there's been a lot of turnover in terms of head coaches. And then you have Michigan State, who's developed, right? Like they have their dudes, they develop in-house. It was the matchup of those two styles. And so Michigan State, you are capable of doing the same exact thing that everybody else is doing. Like that is well within your right to find a coach that is willing to actually accept the way that college athletics is going. It is well within your right to go out and find someone who actually knows how to use NIL to their advantage. You can have an athletics front office and your donors who, apparently have money to give come together and be able to do the same exact thing that Michigan is doing. But you don't want to do that. You want to, in a lot of ways, hold on to what is old and what has worked for years. But part of that is accepting that, okay, but schools like Michigan, they don't care. Like everybody is tampering. Everybody is tampering. I mean, and show me where the NCAA has laid out any sort of guidelines in cracking down on tampering. It happens everywhere. And yeah, I mean, you can make an example out of this program or that program, but it's not going to stop anybody. So I'm not here to say like, yeah, they're doing something wrong and whatever. But the same people that got into me about how, well, life isn't fair, it's college athletics, whatever, blah, 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 are the same exact people that now today are going, Michigan is cheating and needs to be investigated. Well, which one is it? Is it just life isn't fair and this is just how it is? Or is it a problem and we need to fix it? Like, you can't just say it's a problem when it's only a problem for you. You can't just say it's a problem when your team loses and now everybody else is on the hook for it. It's either a problem or it's not a problem. I don't get the selective, if it works out in our favor, hey, it's fine. Ohio State spends over $20 million on the roster. Hey, that's cool. We won a national championship. But if Michigan, it was a few recruiting violations, bought a kid a fucking cheeseburger once upon a time, and that's terrible. So it's selective, right? It's either a problem or it's not a problem, Ryan. Like there's no middle ground on this, in my opinion.
When it comes to Michigan State, it's always someone else's fault. It's always, well, they were cheating, they did this, we didn't have this. It's always someone else's fault. It's this. You know what, Michigan State? You hold yourself to this class standard, and you're the best there is because we do it the right way. But last time I checked, when was your last national championship in football? Wait, I wasn't born the last time Tom Izzo won a national championship? Wait, I was 6 years old when the last time Michigan State made Monday night in basketball? Wait, you made the College Football Playoff and scored the same amount of points as Central Michigan did in the College Football Playoff? What? You know what, Michigan State? You guys got to stop crying about everything and saying, well, they cheated. They did this. They did this. Because we haven't even actually talked about the game, which I find really funny, which I do want to actually talk about the game. But we haven't talked about it. But the funny thing is about Michigan State is, they say that Michigan has to do stuff a certain way. Michigan State's the same way, but they just don't go out. You can win it the right way and all that fun stuff, but newsflash, nobody has actually ever won it the right way in all of college athletics. Like, you're telling me Alabama didn't pay single player before that? You're telling me, oh, well, Miami was paying players. We're talking about OSU hasn't paid players. Georgia hasn't. Oh, let's go to basketball real quick. You're telling me Florida in their back-to-back national championships, they didn't give anyone some lumps of money. Kentucky, because Calipari got Anthony Davis and all them legally. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure, guys. Like, no, there's people, they don't realize that you can actually bend the rules a little bit because the NCAA doesn't do anything. Until they actually crack down on it, it's going to be what it is. And I just don't understand why they complain about everything, Michigan State. And they're such an easy fan base to target because they get mad at anything. Like me saying Jeremy Fears doesn't play real basketball. Oh my gosh, wow, how could you say that? He's a Big Ten Player of the Year candidate. Well, yeah, he is, but there's a way that you play the game, and that's not right. The way that he plays. But no, actually, if we pivot to the actual game, can I just say it felt like Michigan was in control the whole time. Like, even despite that little surge by Michigan State in the second half and where they took the lead for 1 second, I felt like Michigan was in control the whole time. Like, Michigan State didn't do a thing. Like, if we're being completely honest, Michigan out-toughed them, which is weird to say. They matched their intensity, weird to say, especially at the Breslin Center, because apparently that's the most hostile place in all of college basketball, according to them at least. And, like, it felt like Michigan was in control from the jump. Like, there was nothing that Michigan State could have done. Cadeau's hitting threes. McKinney's hitting threes. Yaxel's killing it. Mara's killing Cooper. Kohler had a couple of spurts. But, again, this is why Michigan State, this is why the last year's Michigan State team wasn't going to a Final Four, win a national championship. It's the same thing this year. They can't shoot the ball. Michigan State basketball has not had a consistent three-point shooter since Matt McQuaid. Before that, Denzel Valentine, probably. But they can't shoot the three. When you have Jeremy Fears and Cohen Carr out there at the same time, I'm sitting in his zone if I'm a team. I'm sitting in his zone because Cooper, if he's out there too. 3 of your players can't shoot threes. Maybe 4, depending on out there. Kohler's the only one. I'm sitting there in his zone with my hands up and be like, all right, shoot over me. I dare you. I dare you, Cohen. Dare you to shoot. Cohen Carr, we talked about, we'll hint at it later, but Cohen Carr will be a generational G League player because he's going to be in the dunk contest every single year. But no, he'll get a 10-day every time around this time. But no, it's like Michigan dominated them. Like, it wasn't close.
Yeah. Well, they just shot better. I mean, rebounding was even at 36, assists 14 and 14. Turnovers was just about even, 13 and 14. So in a lot of those, pretty much all the statistical categories, they were pretty much about even. The only one that was different, as you mentioned, was shooting. The mentality side of it, though, too, I think is something that was really striking. You know, I feel like Michigan State and a lot of these matchups with Michigan, they operate so heavily off of emotion. Like, emotion really drives everything. Like, it is just,
they weren't doing that.
It means just that much more. But I think the image of Dusty May sitting in front of the student section in some ways is kind of symbolic, and I hope that it's symbolic for this Michigan team. And it's cold, it's calculated, and it's lethal. And that's the way that I would just describe this team in general. It doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter where you're playing, it doesn't matter when you're playing. It could be the Breslin or it could be a school down the road. It doesn't really matter. This team carries themselves in a way that is cool, that is calculated, that is not emotional. It's such a far cry from what we saw under Juwan Howard. And I think for a Michigan fan, that's probably the most promising side of all of this is just how cold and calculated they are. And I don't want to give credit to Ohio State, but it kind of felt that way in the Michigan-Ohio State football game this year. You know, I mean, everything that Michigan team was operating off of was emotion, because I don't think Sharon Moore really was well equipped to go beat Ohio State. He did so by some miracle in 2024, but he wasn't well equipped for it. And so everything they were doing was operating off emotion. Julian saying, you know, cool as a pickle, cool as a cucumber, rather, just goes out and slings. So that is something that if that's the mentality of this Michigan basketball team, we might be in for a deep run in March, and who knows, I'm hoping some hardware once it all comes to an end. But that was going to be the biggest emotional test for that team, and they passed with flying colors, with absolute flying colors. And again, they didn't respond to the emotional garbage, which is always the hardest part in those rivalries. So
I'm sitting there.
I saw,
and the whole thing that Dusty May, I listened to stuff after the fact. He goes, "Yeah, we're we went 0-2 last year. We lost I think in the rivalry, I think they lost 4 or 6 straight or something like that. But again, those Juwan games don't count. They just don't count. I don't know how they just don't count. And he sat there and goes,
Yeah.
But this team's 0-0. I mean, it's not like the past defines this team. And it felt like that team was in Michigan was simply there because of business. They were there to, you know what? We're playing a rival. They beat us twice last year. And we're just going to go out there. What happened last year. But this is 2026. Go out there, new season. And I will say this. I think that these players, for some reason, understand all the rivalries. Like to say that a group of guys don't understand rivalries with all these transfers, I would understand. And I said that on Friday. But I think they understand these rivalries. You hear what Yaxel said after Ohio State. We got bench players talking like they're starters. We had to come in there whoop them. And then you have the Michigan State rivalry. They didn't, like you talked about, they didn't get into the emotional stuff. When Fears comes down and completely gets a flagrant foul and then is complaining how he got the foul, Yaxel got up, looked at him, and kept walking away because Yaxel knows he's like, yeah, I could beat this little weasel real quick. That's what I'm going to start calling Jeremy Fears, a little weasel, because that's what he is at this point. But no, they sat there. They had Dusty May had this. You're telling me that ain't aura. You're telling me this guy ain't locked in. You're telling me he's not going to come in and about to whoop Sparty's butt? No. That guy right there was cool, calm, and collected. That's called aura right there. And I think last year obviously created a couple sparks as well, which I thought would have spilled over a little bit, but they didn't. But Michigan was there. The only time I actually saw them kind of get a little aggressive was Trey McKinney when he made a 3 and they went up by 16. But I also think that's because he got booed last year in the state championship game when he got awarded Mr. Basketball in the state of Michigan, and everyone was booing him for getting it. So I think that's probably a little bit why. But no, it just Michigan. You know what Michigan did in that game? They beat Michigan State at their own game. Crash the boards, make the hustle plays. Let the other team self-destruct. Let them get emotional. Let's stay composed ourselves. Let's continue to move the ball around. Let's play hard defense. Let's crash the boards. Get those extra possessions. And Michigan was getting constantly offensive rebounds. Michigan State was getting bodied down low, body on the glass, and Michigan State didn't have a response to it. And that's what I love to see is seeing a team that has done it one way for such a long time and then losing that way. I always think is cinema, especially when it comes to Tom Izzo. Hey, Tom, maybe shake Dusty's hand after the game. Just a thought.
Yeah, he did, but it was a quick shake for sure.
It was Harbaugh, Jim Schwartz when he was on the the Niners head coach and the Lions at Ford Field. That's what it looked like.
Yeah, it was very reminiscent of that. But no, you make a great point. I do think they understand the rivalry, and I think they handled it exceptionally. So that gets me really excited for what's coming up in the future for that team. When we come back, someone who is giving inspiration to short kings everywhere, the newest player for the Bulls. We're going to talk about that. But first, Man City Soccer Camps are a proud sponsor of the National Soccer Network, bringing world-class training inspired by Man City's global football philosophy to players across the United States. Open to boys and girls of all skill levels, these camps focus on technical development, decision-making, and playing the game the City way. Right now, you can save $30 on registration. Use promo code MCNSN30 or scan the QR code on your screen. Find a camp near you, usacamps.mancity.com.
Little mispunch.
We're-
My bad there.
You're good. Welcome back on Inside the Game. Nate Wangler, Ryan Glinsky. Moving along here on our All Sports, getting into our final half hour here in just a few on Inside the Game. I know I wanted to talk about this one. This came across the timeline a little bit later yesterday. I was getting into my evening routine of just kind of kicking back after everything was done and saw this story come across the TL. And Ryan, both you and I are not 6 foot. We're actually well below 6 foot. And so one of the things I very much appreciate is short athletes. And there are some sports in which being short is fine. I would say soccer/football, you are perfectly fine. Actually, sometimes it's beneficial being well under 6 foot because you're quicker,
Yes.
better with your feet, everything else along those lines. One of those sports where most times it does not work out well for you is basketball. It is, James Naismith said, it is a tall man's game, and it is that way through and through. But we appreciate our short guys that somehow find a way to make it work. And one such G League legend just got another call to the National Basketball Association, played 22 games last year, but his first game with the Bulls, and that is Yuki Kamawura. Is a Japanese player, 5'8". He is now the shortest player in Bulls history. And yeah, I mean, you just got to watch something. Look at that high arcing corner, catch and shoot. And then this one's great. Whoop! Just right up and underneath. That is a solid find. The bench is obviously loving it. And then the best part comes at the very end here.
It's the jump ball, right?
Yep, so he takes it away.
He's a hustler, that's for sure.
Free from him. Yeah, so anyways, gets the
too.
jump ball. And the call is the greatest part. I know I don't know if there's even audio of that. Adam Amin is awesome, but wins the jump ball tip and then gives it up for what I believe was an assist. But yeah, that's the just look at the focus. Wins it back for Chicago, and then I think they went down and probably ended up scoring. But yeah, what a game and what a day for he said it was 5'7", but I believe his official height is 5'8". Not at that point, not that it really matters. But the shortest player in Bulls history. And the reality, and I said this in text yesterday, Ryan, like he's probably not going to make a sustained career out of it in the NBA. We see this a lot of times. We'll see these players come up from the G League or who have been playing, whether it be internationally or in the G League for a handful of years, that come up and they make a momentary impact and then they're right back down to where they were. And he is on a 2-way contract with Windy City. So he is on a 2-way contract with the G League team right now. But it's just fun to see them come up and fun to see him come up, fun to see him make an impact. Obviously, he's big on the Japanese international team, and he had 22 games in Memphis last year. So it's not like he hasn't played. He's been around, but yeah, giving inspiration to short kings everywhere. So I think we should get into who the shortest players in NBA history are. I know obviously Muggsy Bogues was not big. What was he? 5'3". Muggsy Bogues was 5'3". So I believe he's the shortest in NBA history. Obviously Nate Robinson was short of stature. What was he, like 5? Was he like 5'9"? How big was Nate Robinson? 5'6",
I think.
Yeah, crazy. So and
mean,
Nate blocked Yao Ming once. So
He did. He also got beat up by Jake Paul in the boxing ring.
that did happen. He's not a boxer. But
it's a good story. I think there'll be a bigger story about the Bulls coming up here soon. Shout out Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Wow.
And all the other stuff that's been going on. That all of a sudden all of his family's moving to Chicago and all of his betting odds are increasing going to Chicago. I'm just putting it out there. But no, it's a cool story. It's a good little moment. For Yuki, or is it Yuri? Yuki? Is that his name?
Yuki.
I mean, I don't see him being there much longer. I mean, the Bulls they do got some stuff to figure out. So, I mean, I could see that they're trying to attempt every single thing that they can to eventually get a winning record here. They're 24-26, which is crazy the way that they started the year. Everyone thought that they were going to be like a contender in the East. But no, it's a good story. Like to see a player like that. The only short player that I can think of in memory is like a Foster Lawyer and how like funny he looked out there and how he got bodied by everybody. But no, it's are we saying he's going to be Jeremy Lin? I would say probably not. I mean, maybe he goes on a crazy run and starts hitting some crazy shots and continues to stay on the team. But no, this is nothing sustained. But I could definitely see him being a G League player for a very long time. And we talked about on soccer, and Lionel Messi is someone that has been on, or not been on the show, but we've talked about on the show many times. And look at him. He's 5'5" or 5'6", greatest soccer player of all time. Which we actually got a chat from Fabian in the TikTok chat saying that Miami and Miami FC and Inter Miami sold out their tickets in Puerto Rico in 17 minutes. That's just crazy to me. Like, that's just crazy that someone could do that. But I mean, for anybody out there, I mean, does size truly matter in sports? I think it helps. I think it 100% helps. But I mean, if you got the heart and you got the determination and you got the understanding for the sport, I mean, nothing's truly stopping you except yourself. So shout out to these short kings and of dominating the sports world. I mean, Messi, greatest soccer player of all time, and he's tiny. So shout out anyone.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I just think it's an interesting. I also don't think it's going to be a Jeremy Lin story, because Jeremy Lin actually put together a decent NBA career. I mean, decently long. I mean, he had that stretch, but he played for a decent amount of time in the National Basketball Association. So I don't know if it's quite going to be same to the extent of Jeremy Lin 2.0, but one of my greatest guilty pleasures in sports is watching short dudes with handles. That's always just the most fun. It's like Kyrie's not short, but Kyrie's got the best handles I've ever seen. But anyways, question about Chicago, though, in your opinion, if they get Giannis, should we be worried about the Bulls?
No.
I don't think so either.
It's like,
but I mean, it just seems like, I don't know.
You have Giddey and you have Buzelis, but what says the Bucks don't ask for one of them? Like, it's Giannis, and you have to give up your entire. You got to give up your entire future for him, like
draft capital and all that.
Everything,
yeah, exactly.
And now your cap is severely limited. I mean, does this get them out of the play-in? Probably, but so what? You win a game or two in the playoffs. I mean, does it really matter at that point? No. I mean, check out the Pistons last year. They won 2 games in the playoffs, and did that truly matter? No. It just ruined our streak of not winning a playoff game for like 15, 20 years. Sure, but it doesn't move the needle. Like, I think Giannis is a phenomenal player. Like, he's a really good player. But does it move the needle at all for the Bulls? No. Doesn't do anything. It just makes them from out of play-in spot to like just mid. Like, that's basically what it does. It puts them in like the 6 seed or maybe the 5. Like, maybe. I mean, honestly, I don't even know if they. I mean, I feel like they're like a 7 seed or an 8 seed. It's still, but Giannis doesn't move the needle for me at all. Like, it really doesn't, and you're only just ruining your future at that point if you're the Bulls. Like, you can't draft anybody. You're just going to have. Oh God, this is why this guy sucks too. Cristiano Ronaldo going on strike. He's making himself unavailable for Saudi Pro match amid anger with clubs like. Oh my God, this. Because of transfer policies. Oh, my God, Ronaldo. Sorry, we'll talk about that tomorrow. God, Ronaldo sucks. This is why nobody likes him. But no.
So we're gonna have a week full of just Ryan rants. So we had Jeremy Fears today. We'll have a Cristiano Ronaldo rant tomorrow. So that's nice. I'll just let you. I'll let you go to work. I'll let you go to town on that one. But no, Chicago's in that wonderful area we like to call no man's land. That was like the Blake Griffin Pistons, where like. Yeah. You're hovering right around the 8th seed. Like you're gonna probably, if you get into a series, a 7-game series or 5 games. No, they don't do 5 games in the NBA. 7-game series.
In the 90s they did.
It's gonna be short lived. So I don't see the and you're right. What are they going to have to give up? I mean, that's the ultimate question here for Chicago. Because in my mind, and it's not even really the draft capital, right? Because of where they are, unless they somehow, end up miraculously winning the lottery, which I don't know if it's the NBA's real priority right now to make the Bulls a contender. The Bulls have kind of been irrelevant for a long time now. Right alongside, obviously, the Pistons. But, recent years, and especially this year, that's completely changed. Pistons basketball is back. I want you to put the word out there. We're back. But I don't think Giannis is a needle mover. I don't think it gets them any contention. I don't think they end up winning anything of significance. But it's like it's that sticky no man's land in the middle. Like, what the hell do you do? because you're just spinning around 500. And, it just kind of is what it is. So anyways, let's take a quick break. Let's take a step aside, and we come back here on the Inside the Game. We're going to chat a little bit about the Super Bowl. Does the buzz kind of wear off with how far away the Super Bowl is? Also, I know it's Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday, but man, something just doesn't sit right about having it the night before I have to go back to work, especially with how long it is. It's a lot of that, but it just feels like the buzz of football kind of wears off when you have that big gap. I'm going to talk more about that when we come back here on Inside the Game.
Experience the thrill of the game like never before with NSN's Game Rewind. Dive into full match commentaries enhanced with cutting-edge dynamic graphics, letting you relive the highs and lows of your favorite matches in astonishing detail. Whether it's a championship win or a legendary play, NSN Game Rewind bridges the past and future with a broadcast experience designed to captivate. Call 586-304-4405 and start watching today.
Back live on the National Soccer Network. I love that tag at the bottom of the screen. Short Kings running hoops. Heck yeah, they are. Welcome back, everybody. Final segment here on our all sports section before we get into question of the day. We got the Super Bowl coming up. I know we talked a little bit about the pre and halftime performers. We've also kind of laid out the matchup and our predictions and what we think. We're going to talk a lot more about that as the week rolls along and as we get closer. It's the biggest event in American sports. There is nothing that really comes close to touching the Super Bowl unless you're talking about esports, but that's a little bit different. But the Super Bowl is the event, and it's even internationally it's viewed. It's the biggest, it's the focal point of American sports. And so obviously it draws a lot of attention, it draws a lot of intrigue. However, for people like ourselves, has the buzz of football officially worn off? I can speak for myself, especially with how big the gap is with the Super Bowl and the week off and everything. Like I'm in basketball mode right now. I'm in NBA, NHL. The thoughts of warm days in baseball are starting to swirl around in my head because spring training is coming up here shortly. So I'm not in football mode right now. And so I with how late it comes, especially again, if you don't have a horse in the race, I think it becomes hard as you're a fan of the game, but it's officially now it's just become a matter of, okay, who's performing and will there be a couple of commercials that make me chuckle?
The halftime performances suck.
And the truth is, and now I have to have, another party or go to another party or gathering or be around people. So it's like the holidays. It's like the tail end of the holidays. The Super Bowl is at the very end. You got everything else leading up to that, and then you have that. So
Super Bowl parties are overrated.
They are overrated. I'm over football at the moment. I don't know where you stand on this. I'm sure you have an opinion, but it's just kind of lost. At this point, it just loses its allure. Now, last year or 2 years ago, rather, it was different, right? Because you have a horse in the race right until the very end. Even last year, the Lions being in the playoffs, it's you had a little bit more at the very end, but I don't know, man. I think I've lost the lost the lust to watch football. And I ain't watching the XFL.
No one is unless you're betting on it. Nobody. I would say for me, with obviously with what we do and social media and everything, and what happened with Michigan State on Friday, what my team Arsenal's been doing, all that fun stuff. I could really care less about this Super Bowl at this point. Yeah, I'll watch. Like, I'm not lying to you that I won't watch. Like, I will watch, but in terms of I'm locked in, dialed into this thing. No, not really. Like I could tell you, I think the
Yeah.
last Super Bowl I was really locked and dialed into was probably the Bucks and Chiefs. That was probably the last one because as if that felt like that was the
Yeah.
true like GOAT conversation of Tom Brady
Oh,
versus
yeah.
Patrick Mahomes. That's what that truly
Mhm.
felt like. And ever since that, like I don't know, I just haven't really been dialed in. Obviously, with the Lions not being in the Super Bowl and in those last 2 years, I never really wanted to watch after that because like the Lions aren't in it. Like when Michigan
Yeah.
lost to Georgia lost to TCU in the CFP, could care less. I don't want to watch.
Yeah.
I didn't want to watch TCU versus Georgia. It was the worst national championship game of all time. Anyway, like there's no like the thing is for me with the NFL is I like college so much better because the energy, the rivalry, like the pure hatred between certain teams and all that fun stuff and all that. And I also think the build up is a little bit better than what the NFL does. But
Yeah.
like these two teams don't hate each other. They don't care. Like, yeah, all we're gonna see building up to it is the Malcolm Butler pick. That's what we're gonna see constantly.
Yeah.
But
Right.
I'm looking at it. You're telling me the quarterback matchup is Sam Darnold and Drake May? Like, that doesn't move the needle for me. This isn't too good. This
Yeah.
isn't two Hall of Fame quarterbacks. Even if one
Yeah.
of them wins the Super Bowl, I highly doubt any. Drake May could maybe be a Hall of Famer, but I'm looking at Sam Darnold. If he wins, he ain't a Hall of Famer. I'm looking at Drake May based on what he's doing, based on what he did this entire playoff run. He hasn't done anything. Like, sure, it'll be cool to watch Kenneth Walker do his thing. Like, he's a really good player. But, like, I would much rather just see the Seahawks play the Rams if we really could. I'd rather see that. But no,
Yeah.
it's like, and especially with the whole week off and the whole day and age of social media with so many things swirling time and time again. No, like it just makes the AFC NFC title game feel like over a month ago. It's just I don't care. I really don't
This is
care
a-
at this point. Maybe I'll
this
watch
is
the
what-
game with one or two buddies, maybe. But like
Yeah.
that's it. I don't care. I don't care for it.
This is why I don't I I always give pushback to people who are like dynasties, are annoying, and when you have certain teams that run a sport for an extended
I
period
like
of
the
time, or
dynasties.
like
I'm not gonna
you
lie.
only
I
have
like
you
dynasties.
only yeah, well, you only have let's say you only have 3 or 4 teams. You're like, oh, we have 3 and 4 teams that we know are gonna be in that position. It's terrible, and no one else stands a chance. It's like, but that's what makes the storyline what it is, right? The Josh Allen and can't get past Patrick Mahomes, and then Mahomes and Brady, and then all of these legendary matchups that we've seen. I mean, think of all the Patriots Super Bowls. Like the whole thing was, especially towards the end, right before Brady left, it was like these guys can't keep doing this. They can't keep winning. Like, someone's got to stop Brady. Someone has to slay the evil empire and stop him from going out and winning Super Bowls. Now, obviously, me being a Michigan fan, I'm always going to
Mike
root for
Vrabel
Tom
stopped
Brady.
it.
Well, he did, but the I'm always going to pull for him. But the Brady Super Bowls were great because it had that extra layer. I remember when I was really young, when the Steelers were, when they had like the Jerome Bettises of the world, and they were making runs to Super Bowls. You had to stop them, and then it was the Chiefs. Who's going to stop Patrick Mahomes? And then you have, obviously Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift and all that wrapped up into it, and
So glad
all
they
the
got killed
Super
last
Bowls
year.
combined. It was like you're introducing all these people to the sport of football that otherwise would not have cared if Taylor Swift was not associated with it. Now, I think Taylor Swift has kind of lost touch with her audience a little bit, but that's a separate point. But either way, though, like, dynasties make championships more exciting. It makes everything more profitable for the NFL, and I think that's why they love it. But also, as a fan, I can also say that I don't hate it because it allows for more exciting matchups in those games. Even like with the NBA, there were a lot of people that were like, OKC and Indiana, like, really? Like, that's our matchup? Like, it's Tyrese Halliburton and the who's who of who cares against SGA, the foul merchant. Like, is that really our matchup we got going on? Like, that seems like a far cry from LeBron and Steph Curry once upon a time. Although at that point in
Those
the
were good
NBA,
finals,
it was the Cavs and the Warriors. Those were the teams that were going to meet at the end. So it's just kind of catch-20 where it's like you don't like seeing the same 2 or 3 teams always make it, but also it makes the championship more exciting to actually consume as a fan.
Oh, just a couple of I agree with you, but just a couple of refreshers. talked about him earlier in the show, but Jean-Philippe Mateta is not going to AC Milan. So Pulisic won't be bothered with that. And then Dusty May was asked about if the Axel Enneborg getting tripped, what he thought about that, and he goes, yeah, there were several plays that were very dangerous in that game. There's the film's there, 40 minutes of it. It's not hard to find all the dirty plays. But no, just putting those out there. Those little quick sidebars and follow-ups from our stories earlier. But yeah, I like last year's Super Bowl. I thought I tuned into it just to see the Chiefs lose, and ultimately they got murdered. And Cooper DeJean, white boy pick 6, unbelievable. That was great. Who was the halftime performance? Oh, Usher. That was awful last year. I'm not like there is nothing in this game that is hyping me up for it. Like there is legitimately nothing in this game that can get me excited. Bad Bunny, horrible. Based on, or I don't want him to be a halftime performance. He's gonna suck. We got Sam Darnold and Drake May, unbelievable quarterback matchup. Defensive slugfest. I mean, I guess the only rooting interest is Mike McDonald at that point.
Hey, don't forget Green Day in pregame, man. It's gonna be lit. Be there.
My
be
bad.
square.
I'll definitely tune into that. See Billy Joel Armstrong probably bitch about something. God knows what.
Billy Joe, not Billy Joel. Billy
Joe,
Joel
my bad.
That's a different story.
He'll probably write me a DM that I called him Billy Joel on the show today. He's gonna bitch about something. But no, I think you're right. Like I just feel like there's just too much football. Like you think about it, there's too much football. Like we look at the college football playoff. I feel like it feels like a lot, obviously, and with everything spaced out, it feels so long.
And the NFL still wants to add another week, by the way, just so that we're all aware.
They want to go to 18 because we all knew they were never going to stick at 17. It's an odd number.
No. Yeah.
And I think 16 was perfect. That's just my personal opinion. I thought 16 was perfect because you still had teams in the hunt like all the time. Now you had an extra week. Now, like the last week of the season's not going to mean anything. But what I'm getting at here is I just think there's just too much football. Like, think about it. 2 weeks ago or a week ago we found the Super Bowl matchup. Now we got to wait 2 weeks to find out the result of the Super Bowl. But it feels so long ago. Like think of the college football playoff. You win the conference championship. We get the bracket, but we don't play for another 2 weeks. That feels too long. And then you have to wait another week and a half to 2 weeks for the next round of the semifinals. And then some of those teams didn't even play for a month, so that feels super long. And then we get back to traditional. Well, some of them wasn't even a week. We were playing on Thursdays and Fridays. Like it just is a lot of football, and it feels like if we were to go back, heck, even 5 years ago, like it felt like that was the perfect amount. 16 games. And then you had the playoff, just 4 teams. Like it felt like that was the perfect amount of football. And now, not really. Like we're gonna have free agency talks, trade talks, and then the draft and everything, and all the mini camp drama, like and training camp drama. Like we'll have that. And like once July turns, like I'm like, all right, let's after the 4th, like it's all right. Let's get to football here. Like I'll be hype again. Yeah. But it just feels like there's too much football. Like just too much.
It just shows the stranglehold that football has on the American sporting scene. It is everything here.
Yeah.
Sorry, American football to our European viewers. Let's get to question of the day.
Yep, question of the day. But first, of course, we got to get into the giveaway week number 2. Salt Athletic, an official sponsor of us here at the National Soccer Network. Use promo code NSN15 to save 15% off of that #1 smell-proof cleat bag. That works. Scan that QR code or visit saltathletic.com today. I'm holding it right here. And Nate teased that there's a way you can win a free one. He didn't tell you how to do it, but I'll tell you how you can win this. Head over to our Instagram, NatSoccerTV. Drop us a follow. Tag a friend in the comments, and also comment #NSN Salt Giveaway. It is that easy. New winner every single week. We have 20 more winners. We have 20 more bags to give away. We already gave out our winner on Friday, so that is being shipped out today. And again, we'll cover the shipping for the Salt Athletic bag and all that fun stuff. But hey, head over there and we'll announce the winner on Friday. But question of the day, we talked about is football being too much. But to me, this feels like this is a little too much. Is Sunday night NBA basketball a little too much?
What do you mean by too much?
We're turning it into football. Like we're having LeBron James announce where he went to college. Psych, he didn't even go to college. He's Akron, Ohio. Like it's just, first off, I don't think many people are gonna want to watch a Sunday night NBA basketball game, or at least go to the game, because of works the next day. It's basketball. It happens so much. It's cold anyway. It just feels like we could have just done all these games at noon, 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock. But no, we've got it. We got to get the networks happy and make NBA Sunday night basketball.
Yeah. I mean,
There was two
truth
games, by the way,
is
last night.
yeah, I didn't watch either of them. Shocker. No, but obviously the Bulls being one of them. But no, listen. I mean, I think the NBA is just trying to, in some way, model their game off the NFL. But I think that creating primetime slots and putting them in those slots is just, it is a way to try to draw more viewers. It's a way to try to create hype. I mean, look at what they've done with the Emirates Cup that they have in the middle of the season. I mean, they're just, the NBA is just constantly trying to introduce new things in order to generate more interest, like a lot of leagues are. But it's not just about like playing games internationally. It's of like, yeah, no, I would agree. And I think the courts are a little tacky, and I think the cup thing is a little tacky. And I heard a lot of people talking about how like that's just an excuse for LeBron to like win a couple of those and then go, hey, look, like Jordan never had these, but like
True.
Jordan never played for one of those. It's true. So I do think that the NBA is just trying to get away from being stagnant, because I think even the league itself realizes that the product on a nightly basis isn't maybe what it used to be, just because the regular season doesn't hold nearly as much weight as it used to in the National Basketball Association. So with that, it's always like, okay, how do we hype up the matchups that we think deserve it? Yeah,
Lakers and Thunder versus the Nuggets. They tried really hard for their two NBC basketball matchups. They tried hard.
And now that football's over, so they're like, all right, our time to take over Sundays. So maybe that's just the new strategy for the NBA. It's just like we take over Sundays when football isn't around. But we all know it's not going to have the same effect as football does. And it's just because there's so many damn games. And so it really doesn't, at the end of the day, doesn't really make that much of a difference. And teams are willing to, so I'm convinced that certain teams just sell certain games. Like, oh, we don't need to win this one. We got an easy stretch coming up. Like, let's just rest all the guys. And that's the part that I get it. I can relate to.
Like when the Pistons have 7 of like their rotation just not playing one game.
Yeah, just sitting on the bench.
Let's just throw Cade out there because everyone wants to see Cade. Yeah,
dude, I will never forget.
They got a nagging injury. Yeah, JB.
I will never forget. I had a friend that I used to work with that I gave Pistons tickets against the Lakers, and he went, and Bron alongside like everybody else just decided to just sit it out in Detroit. I think it was the year that they literally lost however many straight games it was. So it's like, yep, that's just how it is.
Yeah, so. No, I just think that the NBA tries to do too much. At some point the product
they do.
Gotta, like, the Emirates Cup is some of the most confusing thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, it is so confusing. And I think, though, that people will start to – this is just a suggestion we can do for a different day. Why not just play a back-to-back with the same team? Like, why not play – or maybe not a back-to-back same day, but, 2 times in 3 days. Why not do that? I think that –
like a series of some sort?
Not a series, but they just play them twice. Like, the Pistons come play, like the Lakers come play in Detroit. Yeah, you're gonna play here twice, and then you'll in 3 days, and then next year they'll play you twice in 3 days too. But you just stay in the same place. I think that would 100% create a little bit more, not say a rivalry or anything like that, but create a little bit of buzz for that next game, because you might get blown up by 30 in the next game, but damn straight they're not gonna allow that to happen in the second game. They'll be like, all right, we've got to compete against these guys a little bit. We've got to try a little bit. Let's try something different. I think that would ultimately, I think, create a little bit more competitiveness. Just because I think that in the current format of the NBA, this is why I don't really watch it in the regular season. I don't turn it on until the playoffs, really, unless the Pistons are good, which they are. But it's like I feel like a lot of plays are taken off. Maybe I'm wrong, but it feels like a lot of plays are taken off. A lot of just, oh, he just got a dunk. All right, let's just walk back. Oh, he's up ahead. Let's just allow him to have a dunk. And then every single thing is generated towards the offense. Every foul. I still can't get the correct term of what it is when you're driving and you get fouled, but you're in the motion of about to go up for a layup and it counts. I don't know what that's called. I get pissed about that. That's really
How is it not an and one?
No, because there's a certain term that it's an and one, yes. But you could continuation.
Like an official term?
That's what it's called. Oh my god.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's what it's called. I just figured it out. Continuation. That's what it's called.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
Continuation.
Yeah.
I hate that. I hate continuation. But it's just another thing geared towards the offense. That's all it is.
Yeah, and the whole gather steps and all that. I remember asking my dad. I'm like, when did gather steps start in the NBA? When did that kind of become a thing? And he's like, I don't know.
When LeBron needed more points to pass Kareem.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe could be. But that'll wrap up Inside the Game here today, episode 220. Wanted to say a big thank you to everybody who joins us every week. I know we told you a lot about how to win the Salt Athletic Bags. However, the comments not just on our Instagram post. Feel free to leave live comments. If you leave live comments on our show, we will definitely talk about it. We can definitely get you a shout out here on our platform. How about tomorrow I list off my top 5 gingers in sports history? You want that? All right. I know we got it on the list.
Could be like movie
Could be
characters,
anything.
Could be sports.
Just top 5 gingers ever. All right.
Top 5
that's
gingers ever.
That's
Doesn't
a
have to be
tall
sport.
task, man.
Could be a TV character. Could be a cartoon character. Could be I don't know, some random person you see online. I don't care. Top 5
so
gingers.
Sam Darnold, the Red Rifle, ends up winning a Super Bowl. He will squarely be in the top 5 because apparently gingers can't win Super Bowls. So he's got it stacked against him. But we appreciate you guys dropping by as always. 221 coming up tomorrow right here on Inside the Game.
From the biggest matches to the hottest takes, Jonathan Turner and Nathan Wangler bring you the stories, the analysis, and the edge you won't get anywhere else. Streaming live weekdays at 9 a.m. on YouTube, Roku TV, Facebook, Twitter, and all major platforms. No filter.